Hello and welcome to more Testing Gaming. Team 1 ANS, Team 2 OSP, 3K4v4, Ron Arroyo. On test patch, it's Saturday. Serpipic, Quiz, Flying Fool, and Jordan on Team 1 ANS versus Lobster, Pyro, Pyre of Reckoning, and Highball on Team 2 OSP. Looking like ANS is going for lower map control. OSP is focusing on upper tracks. Presumably OSP is going to have 2 mass driver bulk fretters, and it's going to have a handful of railguns. ANS has a ton of ships, but primarily they're going to be controlling the lower part of the map with beams. Try to leverage Delta and Alpha with beams and maybe push on to Echo with those two. Of course, all that might be a bunch of bullshit. That's just my guess based on their positioning, based on the players, and based on what those players usually bring to the fight. Dropping down here with an Ocello from Pyro. Sarissa's, Aurora's, 450s, 2 monitors, C90 Pavis, LRT, EWR. What is in the ship? World's most expensive Ocello. This has got to be like 2,500 point Ocello. Highball. 450 bulk freighter. Tanners on the backside. LRT tug. Gun shuttle. And then another 450 bulk freighter. Lobster's got 2 monitors. 2 monitors and nothing else. 5 MLS2s per monitor, and these are actually split up, which is what's strange. Usually when you're doing the double monitor, missile monitor thing, you put them together so you can mass up the missiles. Alright, we'll see where these go. I look forward to that. 5 Reckoning, double bulk freighters, 1 Plasma, 1 T-50-100. He's also got a small armada of shuttles, gun shuttle, naked shuttle. It's a lot of shuttles. Flying Fools, double 450 Axfords, backline, point defense. Poopit's got 2 beam destroyers with missiles on them. Combination of torpedoes and hybrids. 1 spy frig. And 2 little escorting gun sprinters. Jordan's got 2 voxels, one with a interrupt on the back, and one with both have interrupts on the back, and they're separate from each other. They're not flying together. Yeah, they are on completely opposite sides of the map. That seems a little risky. You really need the firepower and the point defense coverage, frankly. Lobsters, yeah, Puvit plays all his stuff all in kind of the same spot. He's gonna have to learn to group his stuff out a little bit more. That's coming eventually later, maybe. We'll need to have that conversation at some point. Jordan's also got a beam destroyer with the double voxel build, and 1 escorting gun sprinter for capping. Squays, beam DD with defenders, spy frig, and then some missile sprinters for capping, one of which is getting bombed currently. Not taking any damage for it though. Able to get the Bravo cap. Blind bombs not doing anything. Lobster. What the fuck? Command ARAD missiles out of this monitor. That means no crews, presumably. Well, actually, they might be getting TRP'd. But more importantly, it means... Damn, it means soft kill doesn't matter, and apparently the hard kill here isn't enough for 1 monitor worth of missiles. And Flying Fool eats a ton of damage. Have to get a closer look at those missiles next time they go out. See if, oh yeah, we can actually see if their crews are direct on the UI. Very nice. Looking like OSP is focusing on the Charlie Bravo side of the map. They have just a teeny tiny, itty bitty, teeny bitty smattering of stuff on the Echo Delta line, and then a pair of bulk freighters lower middle for preventing any sort of lower alpha control shenaniganry out of the ANS that could be very effective against these beam destroyers and the sprinters. But that's a bit in the future. Harb's pushing forward, leading the charge really with this 450 Acello, shelling the alpha point, doing a bit of damage, not a lot though. Sprinter's good at dodging. ANS going to be able to secure alpha off the back of the beam destroyer, which is not getting shot at by the 250 ships. They're busy shooting at the alpha point and the sprinter on said point. But of course, 250 at long range, not quite enough to kill sprinters. Spurs have been bullied. Oh yeah, these are cruise command A red. These are TRP missiles. Just fucking sick. Unfortunately, of course, if you lose the track on what you're firing at, it's just gonna go off into the void. I gotta get this fleet. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even think to do this. But yeah, I guess with the S2 whole price discount, it's a lot more practical to do something like that. That's very cool. Very much a teamwork build. AMM's getting fired at the missiles that are in that have already basically left the AO. ANS has pretty securely taken 3 points. It's OSP's game now to get something done in. We've got all these ships up around the Charlie Bravo line, but they seem to have gotten a bit stuck here behind these 3 rocks. No one's really wanting to push. They might be worried about beams or missiles. Axford's firing offensive S1s at this shuttle, and the shuttle doesn't have in-arc PD, so it does pretty good damage actually. Here comes another volley of those S2s. Oh man. No terminals. Directly into the side of that Axford. My god, Tom. Everything in front of this ship's command deck is extremely beat up. A lot of grays, a bunch of important reds too. Looks like Bubit's just pushing his beam destroyers under the Delta Echo side of the map and catches one of the bulkers out, beaming it in the nose. Let's do a lot of damage, glonks one of the braking thrusters, and a berthing. But those bulk freighters are going to be thinking twice before engaging really anything down here. They're kind of off on their own. They need to leave. Beam DDs are playing too aggressive here, but they're going to get away with it given the current position of the OSP fleet. Another S2 missile strike coming out on the Axfords, this time on the upper Axfords instead of the lower. Not quite enough agility though. Misses, comes back around. I think it's going to miss again and go on an orbit path until they all slam to the rock. Yeah, there they go. Flying Pool being absolutely bullied by this one monitor and its missiles. How many more missiles you got in this, though? Not that many. In fact, only 20. That is mega not worth what they've gotten out of it. That's unfortunate. Really cool build, though. Officer firing another blast of S2s, this time out of the Voxel. Now, the Voxel definitely not going to have the point defense to handle S2s. Especially if it's firing its RPF at a different target and not using that to attrit the S2 wave. Yeah, this thing's just dead. The defenders aren't even in arc. It's just gonna die on top for free. Wow. That's a lot of damage. That will eventually be a naked capping ship. More beams out on Pie's bulk freighter. Telling them to go somewhere else, leave the map. Clock strings go down. Nothing important's been lost yet. Which is going to become a real problem for these beam destroyers once they start eating shells on the nose, 250 and plasma. A few torps flying from the beam destroyers, but of course those aren't going to hit anything at this range. One Pavis says no. In fact, I think it's two Pavises. Oh! I stand corrected. Managed to get just the right angle, downing a reactor and a couple of plasma cannons. Oh, and a big hit! Right in the command stack. Now these are going to be able to close and start executing bulk freighters. Meanwhile, the OSP Bravo push is going really well. The experts have been bullied around the rock. They can't engage this directly, and they've been missiled quite a bit. ANS doesn't really have anything over here covering their Bravo point. All their defensive assets are pushing the opponent's spawn, which is the opposite of what you want to be doing with defensive assets, but
the enemy is securing zone eclipse.
We'll see. Yeah, that might work out. Quiz is also covering Alpha. So OSP going to be able to get a relatively free cap on Bravo. Bulk freighters in full retreat from the beam destroyers, which are gaining 30 MS. That's just a raider too. BDD fast. Unfortunately, eating a lot of 250 in the nose. And I think, yeah, the beams are out on both of these vessels. So what happens when you put it in the open, and now that the missiles seem to be expended. No, they both have, they've got about 3 hybrids total left. The bulk freighters are going to be able to slowly rotate and clean them up. It's pretty wasteful overall. Mindful eating another volley of close range S2s. Good damage. Being chased around the rock and shelled and missiled. It's been a rough game for these two Axfords, and I think it's only going to get harder. Perhaps going to be able to secure the Bravo point. It's 2-dump going after the sprinters. Wee. Nice. Yeah, one defender arc, unfortunately, shutting those down pretty hard. Just a couple of lands, but it was enough to disable one of the sprinters. OSP took Bravo, but they lost Echo, which leaves ANS in a secure score lead and cap lead. Up by about 120 points. Lupa continues to push Pi into the withdrawal line. I'm not really sure where the OSP fleet goes from here. We got Jordan coming up trying to capture Bravo, but that can be punched out with the 450th Cello. Looks like the beam DD rotating around. Yeah, there we go. Getting high ball on the lower side. Highball has had some a really rough day. It's just been living absolute beam hell. The whole day, every single game, I think Highball got ruined by beams. RS2's on spreaders. Clearing out the echo point. Lobster now moving in. Firing another volley. Oh, this might be extremely wasteful. No, they're getting fired at the reins. That's a little wasteful. I think the 250s can handle that just fine. That's okay. ANS starting to run out of juice, but so is OSP. And ANS still up on the caps by a pretty good margin. OSP's lost most of their capping assets, whereas ANS has theirs. Also steadily clipping off OSP's military assets.
The enemy is securing zone eclipse. The enemy is securing zone atlas.
Beam Destroyer giveth and Beam Destroyer yoinketh away.
So, that's not just me, right? Like...
It is just you. You've been like way too aggressive with your beam DDs, Chief. You can't be pushing ships in the open.
So, 12 size 3s, several seconds of B short, and they're just fine?
Well, they're not fine. So they had some Pavises, which killed most of your size 3s. Quite a few landed and did good damage, but you gotta finish, and beams are good for finishing, but they need to be close range. If you're just running at ships in open space, they're gonna shoot out your beams and eventually kill you, and that's what happened that game. I think that happened in the Honeycomb game as well. You do need to be just a little bit less aggressive with those.
Was within 5k. I should have been doing enough to kill any reinforced components.
Certainly some of it comes down to the aim points that the beam goes at. Like, is it having to crunch through hit points? Is it hitting the structure box and thus progressing towards structure breaking? Like, liners are big targets, and if they've stopped maneuvering, then you can kind of pause fire a beam to get much more effect out of them, I think.
Well, in that case, I think you were just dying faster than you were doing damage to them. Bulkers just have a lot of HP.
Yeah.
While beams do have a ton of DPS, they're not an instant kill.
And that's why you gotta be at close range. Even if you are technically at a point where you can break DT, raw DPS does matter, especially on a hull as fragile as the Keystone. So you kind of want to be as
those
close as you
bulkers
can
are
get.
hurt. They
Yes,
just had
when-
more hurting to take.
Sure, okay.
Like, if you'd like to watch my stream and see the... Sorry, Puppy, go ahead.
I was gonna say, looking at those bulkers on your stream, Rom, 450 will pop everything in there.
Yeah, so that's something else, is that beams and 450 together are extremely strong. But beams on their own are good. It just requires a lot of good positioning. And the bulk of your damage came from missiles in that engagement, not the beams. So
Or
I think...
even 250 HE shells will work.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be 450.
I think you need to tweak your build a little bit and get away from the missiles and really lean into the beams with point defense, like a more robust point defense covering you, so you can lay these ambush traps, not get horribly punished from being behind rocks, and then murder shit. Because while the beams and the missiles together are really powerful, They leave you open like we saw in the Styx game to just getting hell dumped with missiles and just dying, and there not really being anything you can do about it.
There's a reason all my beam ships are just beam.
It's quite good.
Yeah,
Secured zone eclipse.
I'm thinking 250 Oxford and 2 purely beams.
If you can fit all that.
Yeah, I have a fleet that was one of the first things I built when I started testing out beams, transitioning from the TFO to beams. So I made a combo. Okay.
Yeah, I have like a track correlate Axford plus 2 beams plus they can fit like a ship box.
That's a fucking build.
Huh?
It's a good build. You'll have to be like very careful with your positioning because you won't have much E-war to fall back on.
You only have one drive on the. I mean, any track correlated Axford, you only get one drive, so that's
Yeah.
where you lack survivability in that layer of the onion.
And two, look like ANS cleaning up pretty effectively though.
Why is ANS winning this one?
They had beams, and they had missiles, and they had voxels, and they had Axfords, and they had caps. Which is a well-rounded and reasonable fleet.
Cool.
They chose to not throw, and I don't see why that's like groundbreaking.
You can't just make a statement like they chose to not throw. And
Not
Well,
throwing
so-
OP should be nerfed.
A lot of the games where ANS has lost horribly, and a lot of folks are like, "Well, I don't know, OSP might need to be nerfed." It's like, well, no. They had a fucking abysmal team comp against a pretty strong team comp, so that's why they fucking lost.
That's the
Meanwhile-
challenge with test games, right? Because you want to try the new stuff, but you also want a functional fleet. And like, I've got a bunch of stuff I want to test, but I haven't found a comp that it'll fit in yet.
Yeah, that is the issue. So like ANS has this pretty well-rounded fleet, and OSP also has a sort of well-rounded fleet, but they wound up losing a lot of their cap assets pretty early on, and ANS is able to convert the win. It's a very normal game of Nebulous fleet command.
And for all that your beam destroyers did die, Super, you did completely zone out those 2 liners and take them out of the main battle for a long time.
Oh yeah, long time.
A lot of OSP light ships died pretty instantly. So maybe not enough tug.
Yeah, there's also that really strange Charlie Bravo push. And then OSP couldn't do anything else with it because of all the beams on the lower side of the map. So they managed to get Bravo. They lost a little bit from it. They spent a lot of limited munitions. And then they couldn't, like, go on to Alpha or Delta from there. They just had to leave.
I guess they kind of have a lower DPS comp, but
The enemy secured zone eclipse.
Do those CLs have the triangular defender layout with just 4 guns?
Yes.
Cool.
That's interesting.
I've seen a few people do that, I guess, so that they can bring E-War but still have all-around defender coverage. I don't know how effective it is.
Well, if a bunch of S2s come at you from the top, the defenders won't be in arc and you'll just die. I don't know if that's useful information. As we saw that happen to the first one. Came in at an extremely specific angle where neither top defender could aim at the missiles and it just died.
Well, it's not like having extra defenders on the underside is going to help there either. So
No, well, and that's why I think keeping voxels together is kind of important, so they can cover each other's like PD blind spots, and having them apart is extremely risky.
that sounds like a reasonable take.
Yeah, that's the game. Game's been over for a little while now.
What's the tally so far?
This would be ANS win number 2.
I don't fucking know. I
That's
don't keep
upsetting.
count. I mean, 2 of like what, 5? That's not bad.
You only got 2 more games in since I left?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't keep count.
You had that
Sheer
kind of
guess.
short sticks one. Why is this so expensive?
The enemy secured zone box.
Talking about the Acello.
I mean, I guess
I'm not really sure either.
like Citadel and Plant Control Center,
Sarissa
and like Adaptive are like the only real super big deviations from like the standard. So like maybe that's a 1650.1.
Oh, it
And you
seems so much
have-
more expensive than that, though.
The monitors
Enemy is
are
securing zone eclipse.
very
They're cheap.
expensive.
Are they?
Are they? I don't know. I mean,
Well, one of them's just a C90 and fuck
double
all
drive,
else.
JRR, 4MO elevator, C90,
I mean, is that really
DC
that expensive?
complex.
How much is the
Um,
new JRR, by the way? Because I don't know that number off the top of my head.
The enemy is securing zone dagger.
I think the monitors are just more than we think.
Maybe.
This AWACS monitor is pretty expensive actually.
Yeah, it's
like-
got an Intel Center in it.
mean,
Track
which-
correlated
20
Bloodhound.
point stock.
Okay, thank you.
So this is like your standard 550 point like AWACS monitor or whatever.
The enemy
Yeah.
is securing zone atlas.
Oh yeah, also Lobster brought this double monitor build. It was fucking awesome, but was not points efficient at all.
Is it missiles?
It is, yeah. It's Cruise Command TRP S2s. It's fucking awesome. Got a lot of lands, did a lot of damage, didn't kill that much.
Classic missiles.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it has
there
the
was-
potential to be really good, but it's a little more. The prio's got to be different.
I think it just needed to happen when the engage happened.
Yeah, instead of like in advance. Because I think if that Acello pushes those Axfords right as they get redded out, the 450 just punches it all out, and it's done.
Oh my god, always
Man, it's funny you can't tell who's on spectator anymore. Or barely.
See, the colors just add to the depth of the game.
No, they're getting removed.
Oh.
If you can't vote kick people, then it's not staying.
Can you not vote kick people?
Not
No.
with the names like this. You
Where
have
do
to.
you?
The color codes are part of the name.
Oh, I see. Oh god, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Why can't I'm still confused.
So
Unimportant.
if you
You'd have
look
to find the exact
at the
color.
view profile, you can see the actual name on their Steam profile. The game displays a different name that is colored by the hex code, but for kick commands and any other server commands, you need their actual Steam profile name, which includes the hex code. So the only way you can kick someone is if you copy paste their name. You can't just type it out, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass.
So I want to know, how are those Axfords still alive? Because I dumped like at least I dumped like 60 S2s into them, and that.
There wasn't follow-up, so when you did that, every
Oh.
time you did that, those Axfords were able to stay in cover or rotate around that upper rock and avoid the Ocello and the monitors. So there wasn't any finishing tool, so the Axfords were able to just heal back up to orange and be
Oh, that's
more or less
unfortunate.
fine.
I guess I should have had the highballs. Volkers go like around the inside of those rocks. I just didn't want her to get beamed.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to survive. So.
No, and I should have had the yard drive. I had the long haul, and I was, while trying to come around the rock, I simply could not turn my line chips fast enough to actually engage those Axfords. Which kind of sucked.
I just got rocked by top sprinters.
Oh, yeah, we misplayed. That's
Like,
okay.
I used to have a disco ball in this fleet, but I took it out for test branch because it was so expensive. And I saw Command S2s and like, mistakes have been made. But yeah,
And I lost the E point because my MLSs didn't reload. For some, even though they were all empty. I don't know. I guess beams are strong. Is that what we're taking away from this?
Well, it's Arroyo. It's one of the
beam maps.
Beam maps, yeah.
Every map can be a beam map if you think about it in an effective 3D manner.
Some maps are better for beams than others.
Could one of the spectators let me know what happened with Poopit, like down below? I totally missed him like dying.
I was
But he
watching
had
him.
10k damage, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I thought he was gonna win that fight, but I didn't know what happened.
I did too.
YOLO'd bulk freighters across open space, died, dealt damage to them, but that's just not a winning strategy. You can't do that.
Well, I'm gonna drop off.
Alright, see ya.
See
See
ya.
See ya.
See ya.
See you, highball.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop off too. Alright, see you everyone.
Damn it.
Alright,
See ya.
take care.
See you.
Bye.
The moment the jamming went down next to those deities, they just immediately disappeared.